Once we've noticed the dissonance and we've given ourselves permission to feel both grief and impatience, the question becomes, how do we want to relate to time? Because time is going to keep moving. We don't get to slow it down and we don't get to fast forward it. What we do get to do is choose how we meet it. Welcome to the Choose Better Thoughts podcast. I'm Amanda Doyle, certified life and leadership coach, here to help high-achieving women use practical mindset tools to live your complex life with more ease. Each week, you'll learn how to lead with more confidence at work, stay regulated and present in parenting, and actually enjoy the life that you've worked so hard to build. So pop in your earbuds and let's do some coaching. So today was my daughter's first day of school. For my youngest, my last baby, it was her very first day of kindergarten. And I've spent the past hour looking at pictures of them and their little backpacks, sending these pictures to family and friends, and just feeling that ache of how did we get here so fast? And at the very same time, while I was standing there at drop off, I caught myself longing for 6 months from now when I feel more settled, when I know the other moms better, when California feels more like home and I feel more like myself. And it's such a strange thing, isn't it? To want time to slow down and speed up all at once, to want to savor the sweetness of this exact moment and also fast forward to the part where things feel easier, clearer, and more familiar. This is what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, holding two opposite beliefs at the same time. And when it comes to time, it shows up everywhere in parenting, in our work, in our day-to-day life. So in today's episode, we're going to explore why this tension makes so much sense, what grief and impatience are really trying to tell us, and how we can meet time as it is without missing our actual lives in the middle. So let's start by just noticing what's really happening, because time itself is neutral. A minute is always a minute. An hour is always an hour. But our experience of time, this is where it gets a little slippery. So to make this more clear, let's run two cognitive models. The first model is where time feels too fast. The circumstance is simply that time is passing. But our thought might be, it's slipping away. I don't have enough of it. And that thought creates anxiety, urgency, and even grief in our body, right? Think about watching your kids grow. One day you're zipping up their little footy pajamas, and the next they're almost taller than you. And the thought sneaks in, it's all going too fast. And you want to hold on to slow it down. And from there, the actions follow. Maybe you overschedule family photos, or you're clinging to memories and ruminating. You resist the reality that they're growing up. And the result we create for ourselves is missing the actual moments that we're so desperate to hold on to because we're so busy worrying that it's slipping away. And then the second model is where time feels too slow. So again, the neutral circumstance is that time is passing, but the thought shifts. This is dragging on forever. I just want to get to the next part. And these thoughts create impatience and restlessness in our bodies. So think about waiting for your next career milestone, for example, a promotion or a raise or a certain level of financial security. You tell yourself subconsciously, life will be better when I get there. And what happens when we're in this place of impatience and restlessness? We distract ourselves. We often buffer and we rush through tasks just to check them off. And the result we create for ourselves is that the moments feel heavier because we're resisting them so much. So whether we're clutching the sweetness of what we don't want to lose or trying to fast forward through what feels uncomfortable, the result is the same. We tend to miss what's here now. Once we've noticed these two models, time feeling too fast or time feeling too slow, the next step is to allow what's true for us in both of them. On the too fast side, the emotional truth is grief. That ache of, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to miss this. Thinking about your kids, you catch a glimpse of them in a photo and suddenly they just look older, more grown up than you realized. Grief rises because it matters. Their childhood matters. These little everyday moments matter. Grief can simply be love with nowhere to land. And of course, your brain wants to slow time down. And then on the too slow side, the emotional truth is impatience. That restless energy of, I just want to get there already. As you wait for your career milestone, that raise or the promotion, or when money finally feels easier, you've worked hard, you've put in the effort, and yet the payoff feels far away. Impatience shows up because the future matters to you. It's your brain saying, I see the gap between here and there, and I want to close it. This is where our emotional literacy can really help us. Grief and impatience don't have to be problems. They can be signals. Grief is saying, this moment matters. Impatience is saying, my future matters too. And here's what we can do with those signals. To honor grief, you don't have to stretch the clock. Maybe just pause long enough to notice what's here now. Take the extra breath when your child leans against you. Write down that funny phrase they said. Share it with a friend. Snap the photo that you are going to be glad that you kept. Scroll through your phone photos once in a while. Grief is an invitation to presence. And to honor impatience, you don't have to shame yourself for wanting more. You can feel it in your body, the buzzing and the restlessness, and notice, this is just energy telling me that something matters to me. You can channel that energy into clarifying your vision, or breaking a big goal into smaller steps, or simply naming out loud, yes, I wish I were further along. And that honesty in and of itself, bringing it into your conscious mind, can feel like such a release. And I also want to name how social conditioning often makes this harder. Especially for high achieving women, it feels like this pressure to enjoy every moment and be grateful for what you have, which means when grief rises, we can also feel guilty, like we're not grateful enough. And when impatience rises, we can feel ashamed, like we're too ambitious or ungrateful for the present. But you're not failing at presence or gratitude. You are just a human having a human experience. So when you notice grief that time is slipping away, or impatience that time won't move fast enough, that's not evidence that something's wrong with you or you're doing it wrong. It's just evidence that you care deeply, both about your now and your next. So now that we've gotten familiar with the feelings of grief and impatience, and we're sort of reframing them as real signals, let's analyze what's happening underneath. This is where neuroscience and coaching tools come together. Our brains are wired with what psychologists call temporal bias. We are constantly scanning both backward and forward in time. Part of the brain is wired to hold on to what we don't want to lose. That's why we feel grief when our kids grow up or when a beautiful season is passing. Another part is wired to anticipate what might be better in the future. That's why we feel restless waiting for a promotion or the next milestone. Both of these biases are survival based. Our ancestors needed to remember what mattered in the past and anticipate what might come next. So it's not surprising that today in our ordinary life, we sometimes feel caught between the slow down and the hurry up. As I said, this is a textbook case of cognitive dissonance. It's when the mind holds two opposing beliefs at the same time. In this case, I don't want this moment to end, and I can't wait for this moment to be over. And no wonder it feels uncomfortable. These two thoughts are pulling us in opposite directions. So again, this is where using the model helps us see things more clearly, because the circumstance is neutral. Time is passing. The thoughts, it's going too fast or it's dragging on, create two different emotional realities, and that can be a little bit confusing. What's powerful about seeing this is that time itself isn't the problem. A day is always 24 hours. What creates the rush or the drag is our thinking. And when you notice your brain offering you both thoughts at once, too fast and too slow, you can soften with compassion for yourself, knowing, okay, this is just dissonance. Nothing has gone wrong here. This is my brain doing its job. So once we've noticed the dissonance and we've given ourselves permission to feel both grief and impatience, the question becomes, how do we want to relate to time? Because time is going to keep moving. We don't get to slow it down and we don't get to fast forward it. What we do get to do is choose how we meet it. So one powerful shift is to move from arguing with time to partnering with it. Instead of it's too fast or it's too slow, you can try this thought. Time is moving at the exact pace it's supposed to, and I can meet it here. Or even something like, this is the right pace for this season, even if my feelings disagree. So when you feel that pang of grief as your child suddenly seems older, maybe they're reading on their own or no longer reaching for your hand in public, instead of spiraling into it slipping away, you might practice, because it matters, I can choose to savor it. This might look like snapping the photo or writing down the funny thing they said, or simply taking an extra breath to really see them in that moment. On the flip side, when impatience rises in your career, maybe you've been waiting for that promotion or that raise and the process feels endless. Instead of spinning in, I want to be there already, you might try, wanting more is part of growth, and I can take one small step today. Maybe that means updating your portfolio or reaching out for mentorship or simply acknowledging that your desire is valid without rushing past the present. Notice how both mental shifts are small and believable and rooted in the moment you're in. You're not denying grief or impatience. You're just meeting time as it is and yourself as you are without demanding that it all feel different. And here's the deeper piece. You get to decide who you want to be in relation to time. Do you want to be the person who clutches and resists? How does that feel to you? Do you want to be the person who races and rushes? Or do you want to be the person who partners with time, letting both now and next matter at once? That identity is available in every season and in every moment. So how do we practice this in real life? How do we move from noticing the paradox to actually living with it more gently? Here's 2 simple actions you can try. If you're feeling grief that time is moving too fast, just pick one small thing to savor on purpose today. When your child laughs or when you're sharing a meal, pause for just 5 extra seconds. Let yourself breathe it in. Maybe jot it down at the end of the day. It doesn't freeze time, but it honors that the moment matters to you. And if you're feeling impatience that time is moving too slowly, pick one tiny step toward what you're waiting for. If it's a career milestone, maybe that's updating your resume or sending one email or brainstorming a new idea. And if no action is available today, the practice might simply be sitting with the energy of impatience and telling yourself, this feeling means I care and I can hold that without rushing. One moment of savoring, one small step or pause. That's it. And so here's your reflection prompt. If I fully trusted the pace of time, how would I show up differently today? Maybe write for 5 minutes or just hold this question in your mind as you go about your day. The goal isn't to erase the grief or impatience. It's just to meet them as signals, as invitations, and let them guide you back into presence. So today we named a paradox that so many of us subconsciously live with, wanting time to slow down and speed up all at once. For me, it showed up this morning at school drop-off, watching my youngest walk into kindergarten and feeling this pang of how did we get here so quickly? And then in the same breath, longing for 6 months from now when I feel more settled in California, when I know the other moms, when this new life feels like home. Grief rises when life feels too fast because what's here matters to us. And impatience rises when life feels too slow because the future matters too. I'll say it again, both are signals of care, not flaws to fix. So as you move through this week, notice when your mind whispers too fast or too slow. And instead of resisting, just say, this is my human brain. Both now and next matter. And I can meet time right here. Because you do not need to change the pace of time to live fully in it. You just need to meet it with as much presence and compassion and choice as you can. Thanks for listening to the Choose Better Thoughts podcast. If this episode gave you a new perspective, please pass it on to a friend or leave a quick review. It helps so much. And if you're ready to go deeper, this is exactly the kind of work we do inside my coaching program. I offer weekly live coaching, access to my full self-coaching course, and daily motivation in an intimate community. You can learn more at choosebetterthoughts.com. Until next time, remember, you are already enough, and change gets to feel good. You've got this.